Hi, it's Paul and I want to welcome you to the next video in the Science of Hiring series. Why use the ProfileXT? How to hire the right person every time. Well, let's get started. Here's a question for you. Have you ever hired or promoted somebody who did not live up to your expectations? Well, have you ever hired or promoted somebody who greatly exceeded your expectations? Of course you have. So the question arises, what was the difference? If you're using the same process and it's generating people who are better than you think they would be and worse than you would think they would be, then maybe it's time to take a look at the process. Here's your solution. You need to get below the surface, and here's what I mean. People are made up of two levels of structures. So the top level is what we call the surface structures, and that's things that you can easily see, easily research, easily find out about. Things like work experience, degrees and certifications, competencies. But hidden below the surface is who the real person is. Things like their thinking style, their personality and behavior, their interests and motivations. These things are almost impossible to get through an interview or any way other than using an automated online assessment tool. You need to measure the total person. You need to find out about their thinking style, their personality, behavior, their interests and their motivations. It's the missing piece in the hiring process. Because you're using background checks, and that's a great way to do it. Interviews are a good thing to have. And so are resumes and applications. These are all necessary pieces, but you need to add in a validated assessment to get information that you can't get any other way. Let me give you an example. One of the things measured by the ProfileXT is what is called the Learning Index. It's an index of expected learning, reasoning, and problem-solving potential. It is not IQ or intelligence. So when we have a scale of 1 to 10, as we have in this example, on the lower end, somebody would be a jug, and on the upper end, they would be a bucket. And here's what I mean. They both hold 1 gallon of information. They're both equally intelligent. It's not an intelligence measure. But the bucket takes the information fast with a big wide opening, but sometimes when it's moving real fast, it sloshes out. On the lower end, the jug takes the same gallon of information, but takes it in a slower fashion because it's got a narrow neck. But on the other hand, it retains it a little bit better when things get fast. So the question arises, is somebody a bucket or a jug? If you put a jug into a bucket job, they're going to choke because the information's coming at them way too fast. And if you put somebody who's a bucket into a jug job, they're going to get bored because it's not happening fast enough. Either way, they're not going to work out in the job. And the truth is, you can't get this piece of information through an interview. You can't say to somebody, well, what is your chunk processing size? How fast do you process information? Are you a bucket or a jug? If they are able to answer you at all, they're not going to be able to give you the true answer because, of course, they don't know any more than you do. Here's the conclusion. More data equals better results. The key to all this is what we call performance models, and through this process you identify what makes your top performers who they are, and this is customized to your company. Sometimes people say, do you have industry standards? Well, you don't want to be like everybody else in your industry. This needs to be customized to your company, not to your competitors, not to your industry, but to you and your company. So here's some examples. Learning index, sociability, and decision making. There's 20 total scales involved with the ProfileXT. And so what we would do is create this performance model. In this example, you'll see on each one of the scales, we've highlighted certain areas, 6, 7, 8 in the learning index, 2 through 5 in sociability, and 5 through 8 in the decision making. This is where we've determined that our top performers are on each one of these scales. When we have somebody we're considering putting into a position, we measure them against the same scale and we find out where they fall. In the first example, learning index, a 7 is right in the middle where it needs to be. Sociability, a 4 falls right on the scale. But with decision making, a 10 is off of the scale. And with a tool like this, a higher number isn't better. They need to match. And in this video, I'm not going to take the time to explain why that is. We'll find out about that in another video. It's like a DNA match where you take and you match the people that you already have who are successful with those who you're thinking about getting and see if they match up or not. Now here's the benefits of using this technology in the ProfileXT. First of all, you're going to reduce your turnover cost. It's the quickest way to increase profits. If you're watching this and you're a business owner, you know what I'm talking about. Because no additional revenue is required. You simply reduce your cost of hiring and retaining quality people. It's a great way to improve your profitability. If you're in HR, you know what I'm talking about also, because this allows you to go to management and really become part of the profit center of the company. But the thing about turnover is it's really easy to get used to. It's sort of like a sore thumb. Or I'll give you an example. A few months ago, my daughter and I were on a hike, and after a mile, my feet started to hurt, but after 3 miles, they didn't hurt anymore. Well, it's not that they didn't hurt anymore, it's that I got used to them hurting. And that's the way turnover is. And so here's my question. Are you better than the industry average, which means that you're better than the worst and worse than the better? That's not what you want, is it? You want to be the best. Here's the financial impact of reducing turnover costs. Typically, turning a person over costs about 150% of their yearly salary. We've even found that minimum wage people cost $13,000 to replace. So if we say, oh, we're just going to replace them with another one because they're all the same, that's not true. And the cost of doing so can be very high. Now, this comes from lost training, time and cost, because you have to stop and train new people. The training cost of the replacement. It comes from lost weeks of productivity. It comes from the cost of recruiting somebody, hiring, advertising, management time to interview. It comes from stress on the organization. The second thing you're going to gain is you're going to get rid of some of your management headaches, because people who fit in your organization properly aren't going to have conflict with managers and other team members. They're going to be happy, agreeable, and productive. Now, you can use a disproportionate management time on those trouble employees, and you know that. If you've got 10 employees, 8 of them probably work great and don't take a lot of oversight, but there's those 1 or 2 who you have to spend a lot of time and energy managing. And you can get rid of that problem when you hire the right person into the right job. And there's so much wasted training time that managers have to spend hiring and retraining the people to do the same jobs simply because they've got turnover. You can even become famous, be a hero, because you've solved this problem for your company. It's a permanent systems improvement. You can leave a legacy behind of how you've changed the system to reduce turnover, increase profitability, get rid of the management problems, and you can be a hero. Well, that's the quick overview of the ProfileXT. I encourage you to contact me now. You can reach me in Maximum Advantage. Our 800 number is on the screen. There's my email address. And of course, the website is ProfileXT.net. And I look forward to working with you in the future.